There's nothing more special than receiving a beautiful handmade card at Christmas, and in this series I'm going to show you 5 Christmas cards that you can make really quickly that look absolutely beautiful. In this episode we're going to use one of our creator card dies to make a beautiful Christmas tree card, and this is the very definition of minimum effort and maximum results. Right, so the things you're going to need to start are a 5 1/4 inch card base. This is 5 1/4 inches long and 5 1/4 inches tall, wide and tall. And it's half fold, which you can see there. This can be made from a regular sheet of A4 card, folded in half and then trimmed to size. We've all got A4 card rattling around in our drawers. I've then got from our Candlelight Christmas collection this beautiful deep red piece of linen cardstock. You'll be able to see that on our website, and that has now been cut to 5 inches by 5 inches square. And then I've got a piece of this fabulous mirror card which has also been cut to 5 inches by 5 inches square, and that's all you need to get you started. So easy. So the first thing you're going to do is get your creator card out of the packet, and this one is from our A Christmas Dream collection. And if you haven't seen a creator card and how they work before, what you've got is an outside frame if you need to cut a panel. We're not going to use that because we're cutting into the front of the card base. And then you've got a metal die with this raised edge, which when you put it through a cutting machine like your Gemini MIDI, you're going to get that beautiful cut detail, which is almost like a faux laser cut finish. And this is all done in 1 or 2 passes. It could not be easier. And if you've got a lot of Christmas cards to make, let's say you need to make 20 this week, this is the best way to do it, where they look like you've spent 3 hours, not 10 minutes. So we're going to take the piece of metal die that we've got, and we're going to take our card, open your card out flat, and then take the metal die, and all of that cut detail then goes facing down into your card, into the centre. And you can see this metal die is around 5 inches by 5 inches square. We are going to keep it still by using a little piece of our repositionable tape. Okay, so we're going to take a little piece and then just choose where you would like to keep it still. And I'm just going to keep it still at the top here. Okay, so now that's not going to move anywhere. It's going to be nice and square. We're then going to take the cutting folder from the Gemini MIDI, open it up and pop this into the cutting folder. Just make sure everything is where you would like it to be. Close the cutting folder over the top, and then you can bring your machine in. Bring in your Gemini MIDI, take the cutting folder, and then we're just going to run it straight through the machine very, very easily. So you offer it forward and then turn the handle. Sometimes good to just put your hand on top of the machine while you do that. You don't need to keep a hold of the folder. Run it through. Now before we decide if we need to run this through again, we can turn it over and just have a look and see that cut detail. And what you're looking for here is anything that looks like it might not have fully cut, and I can see a little tiny bit there and a tiny bit there. Not very much at all, everything else looks beautifully cut, but to save myself the upset of trying to take that die off and it hasn't quite worked, what you can do is fold it over again and then run it back through. When you're using a very, very detailed die like this, sometimes you do need to run it through the Gemini MIDI twice, and that is just purely for all of the beautiful detail that you've got in there. So once you've done that, we know that's ready now. You can move the MIDI to one side, turn our folder over and get ready to do the reveal. So that's going to be removing this tape, which was just keeping everything nice and still. So that's been removed. And then I can pick up my die from the card, and I can see some of the paper has remained there, and then all of the rest of that detail can be wiped away. And what you've got in the front of your card, and let me just bring this in so you can really see it, is a beautiful faux laser cut finish to that tree, which is absolutely stunning. And you see that took me possibly 5 seconds to run that through the machine. That's how quick it is for you to get such an incredible result for your Christmas makes. So I'm going to do that again. Now what I have got here, guys, is just the little stars are cut out, but they're hanging onto the card. So if you have got any little areas, use a pokey tool to just poke those through. If you don't have a pokey tool, use a paper clip or a hair clip. That will do the same job. I'm going to tap out the waste card. Gentle taps on the back will remove that. You can also use your pokey tool or your paper clip if you want to go and remove any of those little pieces through the holes at the back. We're going to repeat that with this beautiful piece of gold cardstock as well. So exactly as we did before, we've got the folder open, the piece of cardstock we're going to use inside, the die, cutting edge down. And when it says cutting edge, look, I'm putting my hand up. Don't be scared of them. This is not sharp. It's the pressure against the raised edge of the machine that does the beautiful faux laser cut for you. So there's nothing sharp on there. Don't worry about that. Pop your creator card die into the center of that beautiful gold piece, and then we're going to use a bit of our repositionable tape again just to hold that still so it doesn't move around while we're running it through the machine. There we go. Close your folder, bring your machine back in, pop it in and run it through. Turn it over, remove your little bit of tape that was just holding everything still. Go. And then you pick up the creator card die from the card, and that's not like ripping off an elastoplast. Take your time and just pull that up gently, and you'll see there immediately, with no encouragement from me at all, what an incredible result we've got from that creator card die. It looks absolutely beautiful. So we've got all of the pieces we need now. Just going to stick down this fabulous piece of red cardstock, which was from Candlelight Christmas, and again it's on the website if you want to go and have a look. And we're going to, on the reverse, use the straight tape pen. And we've talked about this in previous episodes, but if you're wanting to get the best out of your straight tape pen, when you're applying the glue, you run it a straight line, and when you reach the end, don't lift the tape pen vertically, flick to the right or left, and that cuts the glue, which means that you get maximum use out of your tape pen because you're not wasting any glue and you're not wasting the tape pen. That's a really important trick for you. Take your little piece of red card. Because this is 5 inches by 5 inches and the card base was 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, when we put that down, you've got that lovely little relief edge all the way around, and that goes behind the tree to really make that pop and stand out. Now what we want is a little bit of gold. And you can see just a little highlight there, just a little drop shadow of that gold. This is where the Dotty tape pen really comes into its own. So what you're going to do now is just get another piece of scrap card to put underneath. This can be a piece of scrap copy paper, newspaper, wrapping paper, baking paper, brown paper, whatever paper you want. And then with Dotty, you're going to run that all over the back of the detailed piece here. And what happens with the Dotty tape pen, if I just refer you to this, rather than it being a straight glue like this, full lines for adhesion, you've got lots of little dots of glue. And that's brilliant for when you're going in across detail, because now when I run across here, those dots will only stick where there is card. Anything where there's a gap, where there's a space in the creator card, goes on the waste below. And that means you don't get any horrible glue oozing out when you come to stick something on the back of this. It's incredibly strong glue. It's the same strength of glue as the straight tape pen, but having the Dotty application means we can go straight over the top of all of this detail, and now we're just going to get a perfect adhesion. And then round the straight edges where there is no detail, I'll use my straight tape pen. And I'm making sure I've got plenty of glue on here because I want my drop shadow to stay in place and not slip. Okay, so once I've done that, I can move the scrap piece of card out of the way. And we're ready now for the drop shadow. So what we can do is take the drop shadow straight down to the card, but you can't really see how much shadow you've got if you do that. So what I like to do is turn it over, but make sure I don't stick it to the red piece. Then take my little bit of gold lie that flat here underneath, and then what you're going to do, instead of having it lined up perfect, is you're going to come down a fraction to the right a fraction, and by a fraction, a fly's eyelash, a tiny, tiny amount. And you can see where it's going by just hovering over it and making sure it's in the right place. There we go. So I can see now that I've got my little bit of gold peeking out just here to give me the drop shadow. There we are. There's a little bit in that circle there, and I can see it on the baubles. And when I'm happy with it, I can just push it down. And that gives me the perfect amount of drop shadow, a beautiful little gold highlight just behind. And you can see that then is stuck inside perfectly, and Dotty has grabbed it everywhere, so you don't need to worry about it. So that's that, and then we've got our little sentiment. This sentiment I've done today is from the Christmas Dream collection. So I've just stamped the sentiment with a black ink pad and then matte and laid it on a piece of red to match. So just you can cut a square, free-handed, do a wiggly line, whatever you want to do. It's entirely up to you with your sentiment. And then we're just going to need a little bit of the permanent straight tape pen again at either side. Pop your little sentiment in the middle. And then to add just a little bit of something else, because it's Christmas, we're going to add a few of our liquid pearl drops. And this one is the Royal Pearl from the Pearl collection. And to put your pearl drops on, always keep the bottle vertical. And it's a little squeeze, so it comes out, hovering, and then a lift away. Don't worry if you've got a little peak, because they will self-level. So just give it 5 to 10 minutes, and that's going to level off into the perfect rounded pearl. And I'm just going to put 3 little pearls here because I can. There we go. They will round off, and then you have got a very, very impressive Christmas card. And it looks like you've spent hours. In fact, you've spent minutes. Hope you enjoy doing this one.